2 of a 3-part series where I'm going through lots of tips for the party season. Actually, this will be relevant all year round. But the first part is a makeup tip, the second part is a hair tip, and the third part is a regular beauty tip. My makeup tip for the party season is less is more when it comes to makeup. So you do want to have a flawless look on your skin, especially when you're doing something maybe a little more defined or dramatic on your eye, but less is definitely more. You don't want to look cakey, and I'll give you a tip on how to achieve that. So on your foundation, for example, this is one by Inglot, you only need to use a pea-sized amount of foundation. Now, for your foundation, you really just want it to even out the skin tone. You're not looking to cover whatever needs to be concealed with the foundation. That job is for your concealer. Now this, for example, is Catrice Camouflage Cream. This is an excellent concealer. It's kind of a dupe for the Makeup Forever Camouflage Cream. So, first of all, you would get a brush, for example, the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush. This is €13 on Boots, it's a fantastic brush. You get a pea-sized amount of your foundation. Let it warm up the skin a bit, it'll help it to blend a lot easier. You dot it around the centre of the face and buff it out to the edge of the face. Or if you have dry skin, try not to be using a buffing brush because it'll lift the skin flakes. Make sure your skin is well exfoliated the night beforehand, and use a flatter brush for applying your foundation. So once you've really buffed out that pea-sized amount of foundation, the bits that do need to be concealed is what you use your concealer for. So get your little concealer brushes, like a flat brush, anything that you want to add, to have a little bit more coverage. You'll have a flat brush that will really pack on the pigment. Get your concealer and then go over the areas that might need a bit more concealing or any blemishes that you might have. So that in the makeup world, or that in the beauty world, is called clever concealing, as opposed to trying to use a foundation to cover everything up and just it all cake in. So pea-sized amount of foundation and then concealer, spot concealer or whatever, to go over the areas that do need concealing. Also precision powdering. So precision powdering is maybe get a smaller powder brush, take your powder and go over the areas that you need powdering, and don't put it all over and get all cakey in certain places. Leave a bit of a glow in places that you want a bit of a glow. And mainly for people who've combination skin, you go down the centre of the face wherever you need to powder and leave it at that. Less is definitely more. My hair tip for the party season is bigger is better. And there's a lot of things you can use to achieve volume at the roots. So, for example, if you're tying your hair back into this in some way, you're flattening the hair by tying it first of all. So if you get it into position and then use a comb or your back combing brush and lift the sections of the hair and put the volume back in by just lifting it out once it's been tied back. And that will give that volume, and you can do whatever you want then. I mean, if you want to put it all to one side, then pin it or put a plait through the loose part of your hair. There's a lot of things you can do, but just to get volume at the roots would be a really good tip. So the way of achieving volume at the roots would be to use a dry shampoo. And Batiste dry shampoo is one that's been around for a long time. It's inexpensive, it's under €4. You can get it at most shops. There's actually a lot of special offers on from time to time. This one is the XXL volume. So what you do is you lift the roots of the hair, you spray it in, you hold it 30 centimeters away so you don't get too much of a white cast. Then you rub it in, let it do its job. You can leave it in for a minute if you want, and then you brush it through just to brush out the powder once it's absorbed all the oil. And another example is the Schwarzkopf Got to Be Powderful. Again, inexpensive, it's under €4, and this is a volumizing texturizer. It's in a powder form, so you lift the roots, you sprinkle it in everywhere you need it, and you finger comb it into the style and hole that you want. This one has a little bit more hold to it. I will warn though, when you wake up in the morning, it will get sticky at the roots. If something happens to it, it does get weird. I do prefer the Batiste XXL Volume Dry Shampoo. Another way to get the volume in the hair is by backcombing. So to backcomb your hair, you just lift the section, you spray it with either a hairspray or you can use the dry shampoo, and you brush it downwards. You don't go up and down because it breaks the hair. You just put in your back comb, brush it down, lift, in, brush down, lift, and you do that in sections, and then you brush the front back. It's just another way to put volume in without having to use products. It is, you know, more advisable to do this if you had sensitive scalp, if you're prone to scalp psoriasis or anything where you don't want to be using products. Backcombing would be a solution to that. So my beauty tip for the party season would be to drink lots of water. Dehydration on the surface of the skin can cause a lot of fine lines that we start to accept, but then they can be prevented by drinking your daily intake of water. If you drink water by the glass, it flushes out toxins. If you sip it throughout the day, it rehydrates the cells and it plumps up the skin. And if you do it for a few weeks, you'll start to notice that a lot of those fine lines that you thought were there for life will actually disappear. So yeah, drink your water. Another beauty tip, I suppose, is to get a good night's sleep. I'm not just talking about time, I'm on about like the atmosphere or the environment in the room. You know, really we should be sleeping with the window open a bit so the air circulates, and we're sleeping in an environment where the air is fresh and purified. I don't like to sleep with my window open, so what I do instead is I have a few plants in my bedroom. Now this might seem weird, but it is actually, it does work. So plants purify the air. An example would be a spider plant or English ivy plant or a monstera plant. Yeah, they make a difference in the room, and it would be an idea to either keep plants in your room or keep a window open a little bit so that the air is fresh while you sleep. So that's it for my second video. So please click the links below to get to the third video, and thanks for watching.